Good morning, Niner fans. How we doing? We got some big news this morning. Breaking news, actually, about an hour, a little bit over an hour ago. Jon Feliciano, 49ers offensive lineman, he announced his retirement from the NFL after 9 seasons. Now, this wasn't surprising to me because if you remember last year, he did kind of hint towards that would be his last season, end of one last ride. He did post that before the 2024 season. And unfortunately for Jon Feliciano, he had a lot of knee issues last year. He was on the injured reserve. He kept trying to make it back, but he just wasn't able to. He wasn't healthy enough. And now, the writing was on the wall, and he retired. Now, he did retire after 9 seasons. He did say he's retiring due to knee issues that sidelined him last season. He says, after months of weighing my options, I realized I had to leave the game. He did note that the 49ers or Bills can keep him in mind if they need someone for a December playoff run. So it's like he kept the door open if someone needs an emergency, break glass in case of emergency. But he basically says, like, look, man, my body just cannot make it through a full NFL season. He has family and everything. And it's a wise decision. If you can't put your body on the line and you just can't do it, you got to hang it up. You don't want to, stay on a roster and keep a roster spot and keep somebody down and try to keep pushing yourself because you want to play. So it's kind of a noble thing that he did. It's crazy, to say hey, man, and realize I just don't have it in me anymore. So it's unfortunate. He was a good player for the 49ers. He didn't play a long time for the 49ers. And again, last year was marred by injuries, but good guy, good mentor, and this just shows us that the 49ers definitely have offensive line as a priority because, I expected him to retire. I expected this to happen, but regardless, I knew you had to replace that position, right? Because Aaron Banks is probably going to leave in free agency. We knew Feliciano was going to retire. So it's like you have a gaping hole at guard depth. We have Dominic Pooney. He's a stud, right? But look around that offensive line. They need to make sure they can get some good guards on that line. Spencer Burford, he kind of had a down sophomore season. Can he rebound? I don't know. Ben Barch, good player, but he has not been able to stay healthy. So it's going to be interesting. The 49ers offensive line definitely is going to be a key focus on this offseason. So let's take a look at some of these questions. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Joe says, can Moody retire too? Oh, my God, y'all, it's early. It's not even 8 a.m. in the morning, and y'all already taking down Jake Moody. I love it, though. Keep taking shots at the man. Maybe Lynch and Shanahan will take notes. Danny says, what's up, Raj and the faithful? Deb Topio says, hey, Raj. Christine says, what's up? Yeah, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Christine says, you have to have respect for that. Wish him the best. Yeah, you got to respect him. At the end of the day, again, this is his career. He knew when it was time to be done. Just it was a sad time when Patrick Willis retired, but he knew he couldn't be the best version of himself. And I feel like it's selfish when a player is bogged down by injuries and they just try to force himself into the league. I get it. You love the game. You don't want to give up and you get a lot of money, but you're taking a roster spot from someone. You're, allowing other players to sit on the, bench or maybe not even make the team because you're trying to put yourself out there selfishly. So it's good to see him have some self-worth and have some, just common sense to say, I can't do it. And, I think last year was an indication. He had the knee injury. He tried to come back. He tried to rehab, he had his practice window open and he wasn't able to do it, so good for him. He did talk about all the times he's played in the NFL and, all his career destinations. He says, I started playing football 19 years ago as a freshman in high school. He says, I'm old as F, it's funny. So he says, with the sole purpose of playing the greatest college football team in the world, the U, he says, playing in the NFL was not in the plans back then. He says, all I cared about was becoming a Cane. Once I got there, I was lost as a redshirted freshman. And he just talks about all the people that helped him all along the way. And then he says, long story short, he says, finally, I headed back to the West Coast playing for the 49ers on the most stacked team I've ever been part of. This is what he said with the 49ers. He says, all I had to do was come in and not mess it up. I had the best season of my career, and we won the NFC West and the NFC Championship. We just fell a little short in the Super Bowl. He says, what followed was the worst year of my career. So this kind of is going into why he retired. So Again, he's coming off the best year of his career. He went to an NFC Championship Super Bowl, and then he says, I went into the worst year of my career. He says, my knee tapped out. I ended up missing the whole season. I am thankful for my teammates who were there for me and tried to keep my spirits up when I was going through it. He says, all I ever wanted in football was respect for my teammates, coaches, and organization. I wanted them not to doubt that I had their backs when I was on the field. Their love and respect mean more to me than any championship or personal accolade. He says, I truly played the game to help my teammates have success. I feel like most offensive linemen do. He says, well, that and crushing other man's will. He goes, that's super fun too. After months of weighing my options, I realized I had to leave the game. The fire is still there, but I know I can't last a full season and can't bring myself to let the people down around me. Being on a team and unable to help out your boys is rough. He goes, that being said, Buffalo or San Francisco, I'll be ready for a playoff run in December if you need me. So, again, it just shows that he knew he can't let his teammates down. If you're on a roster and you can't play and you're just taking up space, he feels like he's letting the team down. So very commendable guy, very nice guy, very noble teammate. I liked him. I liked him. He seemed like a good dude. I know he didn't play for the Niners for a long time. Again, he was an East Coast guy, Buffalo Bills. He, talked about that in detail, how he would, welcome coming back to them. He didn't want to go back to the Giants, who he played for. But, you could tell he was a big-time teammate guy, big-time locker room guy. So it's not like we're going to miss his presence on the field because he really didn't play last year, again, because of the knee issues. But it's definitely a guy that I feel like players on the team will be like, man, Feliciano was a good dude, good locker room guy. You need good locker room guys. And, a glue guy. We call those guys glue guys. You need a little bit of a glue guy here and there. And that's what Feliciano was. He was a glue guy. He kept people together. You got to like those type of guys. So congrats to Jon Feliciano on a very good career. 9 years in the NFL. A lot of players can't last that long. Offensive line is a tough position. I could never. You got to, just go up there and take a beating. It's tough to play offensive line, especially at a high level. Niners, look at the whole line they've had. They've had a lot of O-linemen. A lot of them sucked, and it's just like, man, how can you play high-level offensive line for years and years? Your body just takes a beat down. And it's crazy that his knee was able to hold up for 9 seasons, right? And again, last year he said his knee tapped out. I'm sure a lot of players that have played offensive line had similar stories. Their knee, their back, their neck, whatever the case is, they probably had crazy injuries, and it just caught up to him, So kudos to Feliciano. I hope he has a good, retirement, and whatever his future endeavors are, I wish him the best. But now the 49ers, they really got to focus and hunker down on offensive linemen. So, yeah, my man Rick G says, at least he told us now versus the start of the season. I do like the timing. I do appreciate the timing. That's a good call, Rick. I appreciate the timing now because you still got free agency, which is a few weeks away. You still have the draft. You can really draft an offensive lineman. You can go get a free agent. It's great. This was really good timing instead of a day before free agency, a day before the draft, because there's been times where people, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm retired. This was good timing. It gives the 49ers a lot of time to prepare and get ready and make sure you can find more depth on the O-line. So very respectful thing for Feliciano to do. I mean, the whole situation, the way he announced his retirement, the way he's gone about this, I think it was perfect. It sucks when a player has to leave for a team because you're like, oh, man, we lost a player. Good for him. Kudos to him. But it's like, oh, we got to replace him. But the timing matters. And Feliciano did the 49ers a solid by doing this now instead of waiting it out and dragging it out. So shout out to Feliciano for doing this the right way. I love it. I love that for him. Yeah, you have to respect him. Did I hear about LeVar Ball? Yeah, I did. He got his foot amputated, man. Prayers up to LeVar Ball. Shout out to that guy. A lot of people hate on LeVar Ball. He went 3 for 3 on his sons. They all successful boys. Jello with the rap career. I don't know. That wasn't on my bingo card. But yeah, shout out to LeVar Ball, man. Unbelievable. He had a smile on his face after having his foot amputated. That's crazy. I see patients that have, amputated legs, foot, whatever the case is, ain't smiling like LeVar Ball. So good for him, man. Let's take a look at two more questions, and I got to bounce out, but just wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about Jon Feliciano retiring from the NFL after 9 seasons. That's amazing to play 9 seasons. So they told me to bust out my AP. Perfect time. You have to respect them. Christine says the NFL wants 21 games. These guys' bodies can't go through that. That's a lot on their bodies. That's crazy. You know, that's a great point. This is the last point we'll talk on. Before the season was 16 weeks, right? 16-week season. And then if you make the playoffs, you know, whatever you got to go through, wild card, divisional, NFC championship, AFC championship, and Super Bowl. If you make it, you got a whole bunch of extra games, right? That's a lot of football. That's a lot of weeks of football. Now there's 17 weeks plus the change you have in the playoffs. Okay. They want to go 18 weeks. They want to do an 18-week season plus the play. Like, it's just a lot. Like, I get it. They're getting paid millions of dollars, and people say, oh, boo-hoo, they're getting paid. But they're taking a beatdown. Like, these guys in the NFL, they get their bodies put through so much. Like George Kittle has said numerous times, it's like he's in a car wreck after he plays a game. It's insane, man. I can't imagine having to play football and, you're just getting knocked left and right by these 300-pound monsters, Goliaths. And that's the thing. NFL nowadays, these guys are not normal. So they're not small like me. They're not skinny looking dudes like me. They are absolute monsters running at you. 4.4 speed. It's crazy, man. So yeah, 18-game season to me is wild. These players go through so much. It's amazing to actually see a player get through a full season, without any injuries. Every player, even if they don't miss a game or they're not injured, there's something they're dealing with. A sprained ankle, muscle sores, joint stiffness. They're playing with something back, and throughout their body. So yeah, it's crazy they want to expand the games. It's tough enough with 17 weeks now. So, and again, if you make playoffs, all those extra games, and I feel that's one of the reasons why the 49ers over these last season, 2024, I don't want to use excuses, but you had several years, NFC Championship, Super Bowl, like all those extra games pile up. It takes a beating out of the player and it catches up. And I feel like that's one of the reasons the 49ers didn't do well. There's a lot of other reasons we talked about them, but yeah, for sure, having success sometimes can cripple you in the NFL. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it does because you're going through so many games and it beats you up. So, yeah. And guys like Feliciano, who's played for several years, like you said, 9 years, his body couldn't take it. Just couldn't take it. So there you go. USA or Canada tonight? Come on. USA, of course. We're rooting for the USA. Like, I get it. Canada's amazing at hockey. That's their sport. But we live in a great country of the United States of America. I'm pulling for my boys. USA, although they're probably not going to win. It's Canada. Again, they are top of the line when it comes to hockey, but let's go USA. Go win us. Go win us. Go surprise the world, baby. Go USA. I wouldn't say F Canada. Canada is great. Our neighbors from the north. I got love for Canada. But tonight, go USA. Let's do it. Let's see. Don't do that. We enjoy football because it's about quality, not quantity. Don't saturate football. We will lose our pack. That's a good point, AJ. If you just shove more games, because the game may not be as good. You might not have the quality. You might have more games, but if players are hurt and you have backup players and you have resting, starters, it's not going to be fun for the fan. They might do load management. Can you imagine in the NFL if they start doing load management? It's like in the NBA when you pay your hard-earned money and you go to a game and then the star player is not there because he wants to take the night off. Come on, man. Jordan would never. This man would play every game, every season. I know he was the greatest, arguably the best. He's my goal, but whatever. Michael Jordan never missed games. And this guy was putting up 30 points a game. He was doing what he had to do. And he didn't miss games. People would pay to go see Michael Jordan in that seat. Nowadays, you go watch the Lakers. LeBron might not be playing, Kevin Durant might not be playing. Kawhi Leonard definitely not playing. These stars take nights off. Can you imagine in the NFL if you go to pay to watch like the Chiefs? Oh, man, I get to see my first NFL game. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is resting because of load management. Are you kidding? I would be so pissed. George Kittle's not playing because of load management. I would be so damn irate. So Santi Zap. I like that guy. But any case, y'all have a blessed day. Go Niners, and congrats and good luck to Jon Feliciano. We will wish you nothing but the best. And hey, you never know. He did say if the 49ers or the Bills meet him in December for a playoff run, come knocking on my door. I don't think they will, but you never know. He kept the door open for a return to the playoffs. What a nice guy. I love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. And as always, go Niners. Go USA. Bang, bang. Niner gang.